In this video, I'll share the top 2 reasons why I don't agree with Dave Ramsey's advice. I've read 3 of his books, I know the baby steps, I think his videos are entertaining. Now, don't get me wrong, Dave's opinion isn't all bad. In fact, Ramsey offers useful help for one specific group, and that's people who've made an unbelievable mess of their finances. Here's a prime example. The budget's tight. Husband and wife combined make $40,000 and are trying to figure out how to handle $7,000 in credit card debt. The numbers don't add up. And Dave digs in a little deeper.
No wonder you can't breathe. Man, you have $70,000 worth of cars, you make $40,000. You know what that means? It means you have about 6 times as much in vehicles as you need. You need to sell both cars immediately.
And so even if I did that, I mean, I'd obviously go upside down quite a bit.
You can tell by the long pause in the caller's voice that either he's never considered the option of selling the cars, or he and his wife have such an image to maintain that they'd rather go broke than clean up their situation. Or along the same lines, I often hear middle-aged couples earning $175K a year who can't pay their bills, which leads to someone being 71 years old with nothing saved. These type of callers make me think of a personal trainer trying to help an obese person put their life back together. Years ago, there was a 700-pound man that posted a video on YouTube asking for help losing weight. Some would say drink water instead of soda, try to eat healthier, get more fresh air, or find a physical activity to enjoy. For someone in his position, any advice would be good advice. In the same way, Dave is very good at dealing with cases of extreme financial obesity. Look, it's not rocket science. These callers need to spend less than they make, save something for a rainy day, and put away money for retirement while there's still time. If you find yourself running out of money at the end of the month and can't figure out why, Dave's baby steps are a good thing to look into, in the same way that it's better than what you're doing now. As a side note, drop in the comments, what stage of life are you at? Are you more focused on paying off your debt, or you want to maximize your retirement? Let me know so I can tailor my future videos to what you need. As a quick recap, the 7 steps are: number 1, $1,000 emergency fund. Number 2, pay off everything except the house, cars, credit cards, student loans. Number 3, emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. Steps 4 to 6 happen all at the same time. Invest 15%, children's college fund, pay off the home early. And then step 7 is give generously. The baby steps are helpful for someone who's clueless about money, but wants a step-by-step plan that's halfway decent. On the other hand, if you want to put your money to work and be on the fastest track to becoming a millionaire, there are several problems with what Dave teaches, and we'll get into that now. 30 years ago, Dave recommended setting aside $1,000 for emergencies. Maybe that was a lot of money back in the early 90s, but with inflation, a car repair of $2,000 to $3,000 is more realistic these days. You may want to set aside more than $1,000, but it's a minor point. The real problems start to show up in baby step 2. In baby step 2, we're told to pay off all debt except the house. Dave says you're going to put yourself on a scorched earth, no room for fun budget. Pay off your debt like your life depends on it. He's famous for saying the only time you should see the inside of a restaurant is when you're picking up a second job. When someone has credit card debt, I'm all for cutting expenses. Make your own coffee at home, skip the vacation, and stop buying clothes you don't need. Now, if a couple is $100K of student loan debts, a couple car loans, credit card debt, depending on their income, they could be looking at 3 years to get out of debt. To me, that seems like a marathon and not a sprint. Without any kind of moderation, occasionally spending a little money on relaxation, most people would burn out if they're redlining, going full speed year after year. It's a minor point. Do as much as you can without going crazy. But my major problem with baby step 2 is where Dave tells us to temporarily suspend all investing to free up cash. Going back to our overweight friend, that's like telling him, I'm going to put you on a diet for the next 3 years, but you're not allowed to exercise. Only after you've lost 300 pounds can you go out for walks. He'd probably look at you like you're crazy because everyone knows diet and exercise go together. If your employer matches your 401k contribution, that's the closest thing you'll ever find to free money. It's the equivalent of burning 200 calories, but you're wearing a magic Fitbit, and burn 400 calories with the same effort. That extra boost is your company's match. Imagine you make 100K pre-tax and your employer matches the first 5%. You invest $5,000, your employer puts in another $5K. You're getting a guaranteed 100% return. And not only that, the money is going to compound and grow year after year. Not contributing to your 401k until your debt is paid is a mistake for 3 reasons. There's no catch-up period. Let's say it takes you 3 years to pay off your debt. If you contribute 0, that means your employer matches 0. Down the road, when you're debt-free, even if you double your contribution to $10,000, your employer is only going to contribute $5,000, not pay you for last year. Either use it or you lose it. Number 2 is compounding. You're not just losing out on the $10,000 for retirement, but what that money will grow into. Depending on how many years you have until retirement, your 5K can be worth anywhere from $16,000 to almost $500,000. And that's just from 1 year of contribution. Now, if you have a car loan, student loan debt, credit card balance, or medical bills, it could take years to get out of debt. This adds up to thousands and thousands of dollars of lost money at retirement. Even in a worst case scenario, you're still better off contributing. You deposit $5,000, employer matches $5,000. A couple years go by and you have an emergency and really need the money. The first $1,000 can be withdrawn without any penalty. But let's say you need more. With no contribution on the left, you make $5,000, pay taxes, and are left with $3,900 to pay your bills and your debt. On the right, we invest with the employer match, pay taxes and an early withdrawal penalty, and are left with $6,900, which is $3,000 more than if we followed Dave Ramsey's advice. What if you make a little less and employer contributes 50% instead of 100%? Even still, you're giving up a guaranteed 50% immediate return in tens of thousands of dollars at retirement. All to pay off a 5% car loan faster? It makes no sense. So all of that to say this, the first problem with baby step 2 is pausing the 401k. It's hard to imagine where stopping your investment to only focusing on paying your debt is a good idea long term. But it doesn't stop there. Let's look at the order Dave wants you to pay off your debts. He wants you to list all your debts by amount owed, smallest to largest. Make minimum payments on everything and extra money goes to the smallest debt. He says not to be concerned about the interest rate because of the warm, fuzzy feeling you get from paying off a balance, and that'll motivate you to continue. Obviously, from a mathematical perspective, if you have an extra dollar, you want to knock down the 18% credit card instead of the 5% car loan. That's how you'll save the most interest expense, pay off the debt the quickest. To put in perspective, let's go back to the obese man trying to lose weight. In essence, the debt snowball method would have him ignore the calories of everything in his refrigerator. He's going to rank everything not by calories, which is the interest rate, but by the number of bites it takes him to finish, the size of the debt. So here he takes one bite out of everything, and then finishes the chocolate cake before moving on to the mozzarella sticks, the pizza, and the onion rings. Only after he's wiped out everything else is he allowed to make progress on the healthy options. It makes no sense from a diet, and obviously it's a misguided approach when it comes to managing your money. So let's say a family has a medical bill, 2 car loans, a personal loan, 2 credit cards, and student loan. They have a budget of $2,000 a month to pay down the debt. Minimum payments are $1,712, which means they have an extra $288 to apply as they see fit. On the left is the Snowball method. They list debt smallest to largest, and the extra $288 will go towards the 0% dental bill. On the right is the Avalanche method, which lists by interest rate largest to smallest. The extra $288 will be applied to the 20% credit card bill. Here we have a graph of how quickly the debts were paid off with both methods. There's no doubt progress was made faster with the Snowball method. It only took us 6 months to pay off our first debt, instead of 19 months with the Avalanche. Fast forward to 42 months, we've already paid off 4 accounts with Snowball, while the Avalanche is only at 2. And yet, look at the end. We see the Avalanche method was actually the winner. We paid off all 7 accounts in 60 months, 5 months faster than the Snowball. And if the Avalanche worked faster, that means we've also saved more money. And I'll show you that now. Not only did the Avalanche get you out of debt faster, but you'd actually save an extra $9,500 in your pocket. It might feel better paying off the first debt or 2 with a Snowball. And if that's the motivation you need, go for it. It's not the most optimal, but there's nothing wrong with it. At least you're applying your extra money towards your debt instead of going shopping like most people. But just know that when Dave says the Snowball is the quickest way to get out of debt, that may be true for the first one, but I'm sure you want to pay off all your debt, not just the smallest one. It's mathematically impossible for the Snowball to be faster when it completely ignores the interest rate you're being charged. Head to head, the Avalanche method wins every single time. I want to make sure you're learning something, and the quickest way to do that is to explain it to someone else. Pause the video and comment down below. Write 2 sentences. The difference between the Snowball and the Avalanche, and which one makes more sense to you. One of the biggest weaknesses of Baby Step 2 is not taking advantage of investment opportunities. And this carries over and is also true for Baby Step 3. After all the debts except the house are paid, we still aren't allowed to invest until we have 3 to 6 months of expenses set aside. With no debt payments, we can use the extra cash to build up the safety net, and hopefully it won't take too long. But once again, you'll be missing out on your employer's contributions in the meantime. Dave's specialty is to get people to wake up and focus on their debt. He has them on rice and beans, no vacation, no leisure shopping, sell the boat, sell the new car, and really get after it. I don't agree with all of it, but for people who are completely out of control and need a structured plan to follow, I'd actually recommend them follow what Dave teaches. His plan for getting out of debt, maybe it's not optimal, but it's worth considering. With that said, when it comes to investing in Baby Step 4, Dave Ramsey's advice is 2 glaring problems, and I'd stay completely away from it. If you've listened to his show for any length of time, you'll hear him plugging the Smart Investor Pro, and we'll talk about what that is in a minute.
So, no, you need to get a different guy if you're going to start doing, when you're ready to start investing, and you're not ready to start investing until you finish Baby Step 2, which is, and Baby Step 3. Baby Step 2 is you get the cars paid off. Baby Step 3 is you finish the emergency fund. And then Baby Step 4 is you put 15% of your income into retirement. And find someone that aligns with the program you're going to do. Now, if you're not going to do the stuff I teach, that's fine. Go with whoever you want. But don't try to get an advisor to tell you to do one thing and you're trying to do the stuff we teach is another thing. Get people that are in line with your beliefs and the direction that you're going to go. And then you'll get consistent advice and so forth. That's why you go, you can get a SmartVestor Pro and they'll advise you, but you're not ready for that yet. Not until you get these cars paid off. Or sell them.
Scrolling to the bottom, we read, each SmartVestor Pro pays Ramsey Solutions a combination of fees to be listed, and they have to pay these fees whether or not they get any clients. According to disclosure statements, advisors pay Ramsey Solution anywhere from $7,500 to $11,000 a year for the privilege of being listed on his website, no doubt generating millions of dollars a year. The problem with this model is the Smart Investor Pros are only paid when they sell you investments with a commission, and the worst investments pay the highest commissions. Dave says we should be okay with losing 5% off the top for the privilege of having a salesman on your team teaching you how to invest successfully. And just to be clear, on top of the 5% of the salesman, the products he recommends also have upfront loads and high annual fees. Not to mention, historically, most mutual funds actually underperform the S&P 500, so they do worse while costing you more. To put actual numbers to it, you have $25,000 and are considering going with a Smart Investor Pro. Before anything happens, the salesperson commission and the upfront load fees of the mutual fund dropped your balance to $22,800. On the right, we have the typical S&P index fund, no upfront fees, so we still have the full $25,000. Scrolling down, we see because of the high mutual fund fees, you'd retire with only half of what you could have if you chose a low-cost index fund. This mistake would have cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the long term. So going back to what Dave wrote, there's a good reason most investors would hate paying 5% in upfront commissions, and why most true financial advisors recommend index funds over mutual funds. I don't know about you, but paying a salesman hundreds of thousands of dollars to be on my team and teach me how to invest successfully doesn't sound like a very good idea to me. As far as investing, I take advantage of any employer match that's available. And for your IRA, stay away from expensive advisors or funds that charge excessive fees. For 90% of people, I'd suggest one of Vanguard's target retirement funds. All you have to do is select how many years away from retirement you are, and based on that, it'll automatically adjust your portfolio of stocks and bonds. So for example, if you have 30 years from retirement, select this one. Fee is only 0.08%. No purchase fee, no redemption fee, no 12B1 fee, which is usually associated with mutual funds. Currently, the allocation is 90% stocks, 10% bonds. Each year, as you get closer to retirement, Vanguard will automatically rebalance your portfolio for you until you end up with about 55% stocks and the rest in bonds. I'm by no means here to bash Dave Ramsey. No system is perfect, and oftentimes people need a step-by-step plan. If you find yourself in a situation where you spend more than you earn, maybe you've never done a budget before and wouldn't know where to start, I'd probably first read the Financial Peace book in the middle. As far as paying your debt, paying your higher interest rate is efficient. It'll save you the most money in the long run. Cut back on expenses if you have to, but always take advantage of your retirement plan, especially if there's a company match. Stay away from high-paid advisors. All you really need is a low-cost index fund. Dave doesn't get into paying off your home early until baby step 6, but I want to show you a trick how you can knock 2 years off your mortgage without increasing your payments or refinancing. If you want to learn how to save thousands and thousands of dollars, click the video here, and I'll talk to you soon.